This is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. I'm the celebrity medium. As always, there's a lot of gossip on the other side to tell you about. Let's get right to it. Actor Bob Hoskins is probably best known for being in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, in which he starred alongside a cartoon bunny. Now, according to one of my Next World paparazzi sources, however, that's one role Mr. Hoskins would prefer not to be reminded of. When the actor arrived in the afterlife, a fan approached him for an autograph and remarked that he loved him in that movie. Hoskins told the man he appreciated his praise, but pointed out that he had a long career in film and proceeded to list his many other roles. I'm told that the actor went on for several minutes about all the parts he played over the years, and that the fan, whose name is Jim Porter, had a puzzled look on his face. When the tirade was over, he and Hoskins shook hands and parted amicably. My source asked him what he thought about Bob's bizarre rant. "Sheesh," said Porter. "All I asked him for was an autograph. I didn't want to hear his resume." This story makes you wonder if Hoskins, if he was still on the earthly plane, would have agreed to star in the sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, rumored to have been in the planning stages prior to his death. I guess we'll never know. Next, we have a follow-up to a story we covered several weeks ago. I told you about the unlikely romance between singer Whitney Houston and former President Abraham Lincoln. Many listeners to this podcast took offense to President Lincoln's use of the word negress to describe Ms. Houston. Well, despite his outdated language, the couple is still together and apparently doing fine. According to my source, Abe and Whitney walked the red carpet at the recent Next World premiere of the musical The Book of Mormon. Now, one might be forgiven for thinking that, given what happened the last time he went to a theater, Mr. Lincoln might want to avoid plays. In any event, I'm told that now clean-shaven, tux-wearing Mr. Lincoln was holding hands with the beautiful singer, and that Whitney was sporting what appeared to be an engagement ring. When my source asked her if wedding bells were in the future, Houston just smiled and said, "No comment." The story is clearly still developing, and we will keep an eye on it. Actor Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. just transitioned to the afterlife at age 95. Mr. Zimbalist was very big in television back in the 60s, having starred in the shows 77 Sunset Strip and the FBI. When he arrived in the next world, as is often the case with celebrities, there was a small crowd waiting to greet him. Now, according to two of my sources, one of the well-wishers was the godfather of soul, James Brown. James, it seems, has made a hobby out of being on the scene when famous people arrive in the afterlife. Soul Brother #1 introduced himself to the actor and offered to help him get oriented to his new environment. One of my sources admits to eavesdropping on the conversation between Messrs. Brown and Zimbalist and reports that James hinted that he has a big new project coming up, and my sources promised to try to find out more about it. Of course, if and when I get more information about this, I will pass it on to you here on the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. Now, I've told you in the past about unlikely couples in the next world. With no time constraints, some people in the afterlife form hookups with partners they just wouldn't have considered on the earthly plane. Silver screen sex symbol Marilyn Monroe seems to be in just such a relationship, according to my sources. Monroe had her choice of any red-blooded man during her time on Earth, has been seen out and about recently with, wait for it, pop artist Andy Warhol. Warhol, who produced many portraits of the actress, was well known to be gay when he was on the earthly plane, so it's hard to imagine his relationship with Monroe as anything other than platonic, but sources say they have been seen holding hands and kissing in public. So far, the two have been tight-lipped about the exact nature of their friendship. You may remember Evel Knievel from his many death-defying stunts when he was alive. He failed an attempt to fly over the Snake River Canyon on a motorcycle/rocket and nearly died when he crashed while trying to jump a fountain at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Even though he can't die or be seriously injured in the next world, one can understand why evil would choose a less dangerous pastime this time around. Still, many Afterlife residents were shocked when they opened a magazine recently, only to see a full-page ad featuring Knievel as an underwear model. Now, people in the next world look as good as they ever did on the earthly plane. Still, Evel Knievel is not exactly the man most people would think of when the phrase male model comes to mind. Hey, if it makes him happy, we wish Evel good luck in this new profession. That will do it for the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast for this week. I invite you to come back next time for more of the juiciest gossip about all your favorite deceased celebrities. I am the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.